Hey everyone, welcome back to another PNSO review. Today we're taking a look at their newest addition to their museum line. It's Lucas, the Giganotosaurus. I guess it was only a matter of time before we got a Lucas 2.0. PNSO did a Giganotosaurus way back in the day, years ago. It's one of the first few figures I actually reviewed on the channel. So it was time for an update. And, pretty much every company's bread and butter is T-Rex and Giganotosaurus. So we knew this figure was coming. And I have to say, once getting it in hand, I really like this figure, but anyways, I ended up getting this figure off of Amazon. It retails for $60, and you can also order it from PNSO's AliExpress store. I'll leave both links down below in the description. So let's go over the package really quick before we take a look at Lucas. We got Lucas front and center on the front of this nice museum line packaging. This is the type of box it comes in, a very high quality box with foam inserts. On the side of the box, you get PNSO Dinosaur Museum, 135, Scientific art model, really not much else. The only other thing you could do with this big, stupid box, I'm trying to get it open. It's always so tight. I'm going to freaking throw this thing across the room. I should not have done this on camera. You can actually flip it over. You got the PNSO logo, and you can use it as a display stand because these museum line figures are kind of used as a classroom display. You can display Lucas on here. So yeah, that's justifying that $60 price point. And the other thing you also get is this giant folder packed full of those wonderful posters that I have not been missing. You do get a pamphlet with lots and lots of pictures of Lucas. Let's find some. There's some nice artwork of Lucas with some feathering on top of the head, and shows you how to display it on the stand, blah blah bibbidi blue. More pictures of Lucas, lots and lots of pictures of Lucas. The classroom display here is all those posters that you get inside the box. It's absolutely overkill. I swear if they didn't include these, it knocked down the price like $10. And speaking of the posters, they're all right here, and we're not going to go over them. So that's that. I'm not going to waste my time going over posters that 99% of us are not going to use. So let's throw Lucas up on that turntable and jump at this review. And here is Lucas out of the box. I have to say, I really like this figure. I kind of suffer from T-Rex and Giga burnout, but this is a really fantastic figure. When I saw the promotional images, I'm like, yeah, this thing looks really good. But getting it in hand, I don't know why I zoomed in like that for a second. But yeah, it's really nice. It's beautifully detailed, tons of fine scale detail. PNSO has really made leaps and bounds since Wilson with those oversized scale. They've really dialed it back and gave nice proportionate scalation to their dinosaur figures since Wilson. So yeah, really nicely done. Love the head sculpt on there. Most Giganotosaurus reconstructions have the skull a little bit too long, and this features the new updated skull with that shorter mug. Just a very thick and powerful looking apex predator, very chunky body, legs and arms, just a lot of muscle detail all over the place, like the bright splash of orange along the head. The coloration is kind of drab. PNSO really has not been the most colorful with their figures, the exceptions of like Dinosaur and Centaurosaurus, but it's mostly just gray, a little bit of green and browns, and just some black markings mixed in. They're very natural looking for a predator this size, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, all around a really nice looking figure. And now time for some measurements. This big boy is 14 inches long from the tip of the tail to the tip of the snout, or about 35.5 centimeters, and about 3.5 inches tall, or 8.9 centimeters to the top of the head. So Giganotosaurus in real life was between 39 and 43 feet long, or 12 to 13 meters. So I'll put this figure nicely in the 133 to the 136 scale range. So if you collect the 135 scale, which most of us do, this figure is going to fit in really nicely. And just like most bipedal figures from PNSO, you do get this clear display stand that fits snugly underneath the chest. I always highly recommend that you use these display stands. These figures do tend to warp over time, and you don't want them falling off your shelf, getting damaged. And now let's zoom in and take a look at that beautiful head sculpt on this figure. Just look at all the lovely scale detail all over the head. You have all large scales along the upper jaw and at the front of the snout. These are very similar to like the pressure scales on crocodiles. Paleontologists theorized that theropod heads were very sensitive. They use their snouts to rub against each other and, you know, signal each other and all that fun stuff. Very, very little shrink wrap and just a tiny bit around the orbit. The eye is painted orange with a black pupil. You have this beautiful splash of orange all over the inorbital fenestra. The nose is nicely painted. Looks like there's a little bit of dirt caked up in there, or snot or something like that. Teeth are all very, very nicely painted. Giganotosaurus had very blade-like looking teeth, and these look absolutely great. And opening the mouth up, let's take a look at all that wonderful detail inside the head. Let's take a look at the roof of the mouth. You can see the nasal passages are nicely sculpted. Lots of detail inside the mouth. That throat looks like it goes all the way back. Some nice detail on the tongue. Nice dry brushing on there to bring out all that nice detail on the tongue. Gums are nice and shiny. Let's get the camera to focus in on that. The mouth is articulated, closed completely flush, opens up that far. And then back here we do have the ear canal, and here's a view of the top of the head. Now the ornamentation on top of the head is my only critique on the figure. I think the whole figure is painted very, very nicely, you know, especially for PNSO standards. I just don't like the way this is painted. It looks very sloppy and amateurish. I feel like it takes away from the look of the figure. You know, this is a $60 figure. I just wish, you know, maybe it was just like dry brushed on instead of just painted on. It looks very matte compared to the rest of the figures. My really only critique about the figure. I just don't like how that paint came up on all that ornamentation. Then going down to the very thick and powerful looking neck, you have lots of folds and wrinkles, lots of tiny, tiny scale detail. Like I said, this whole figure has nice proportionate scales, a far cry from their Wilson. Very, very thick looking neck, very thick and powerful looking body, even over the hips and thighs. Side of the body, you do have some light coloration, some dark markings splashed here and there. Very, very short and powerful looking arms, and the claws are not painted. They're kind of just the base plastic of the underside. That's okay. You know, I kind of wish they were painted. Like I said, we're spending $60 on this figure. You know, I kind of expect everything to look really, really premium. Going down to the hind legs, nice thick, powerful looking legs. You get some nice folds and wrinkles around the knee area. Very thick and powerful looking calves. And then going down to the feet, beautifully sculpted, nice and proportionate feet. You can see the dew claw hanging off right there. The feet on PNSO figures are typically dirty, so I'm not really going to get on them too much for not painting in those toe claws. It makes the animal look alive. And then flipping the figure over, we got to do it. Our dinosaur butthole check. There it is, the cutest, tiniest little cloaca on this giant kill machine of a monster. And then going down to the tail, you got more of that striping. It goes all the way down to the tip, and just check out all that nice scale detail all around. A very, very nicely done Giganotosaurus figure. Dare I say, probably the best one on the market right now. And moving on with comparisons, let's collect these little 1/40 scale dude. Just a little too small to scale next to Giganotosaurus, but gives you an idea of how big this animal was in real life. And next up, let's get all the Giga comparisons out of the way early. Here it is with the original Lucas. I did quite like this figure a lot when it came out. I think it's like, what, about 4 years ago now. And you can see how much PNSO has evolved over the years. Like I said, really like this Giga. Let's just move Lucas 2.0 out of the way. This one's just very interesting. It's over-textured, but the paint job was actually really good at the time. It was like one of the best painted PNSO figures for a very, very long time. You can see the head is a lot longer and not as deep as it is on this newer updated version, but it did come with a really, really cool display base. And it still costs, I think, around that $60-65 that this one is. And it is a larger figure, but yeah, I think they look really cool next to each other, because this kind of shows you just how far PNSO has come over the years. But this new one definitely is the superior version. And next up, here is Eofauna's Giganotosaurus, which a lot of people consider one of the better versions of the species on the market. I do like Eofauna's, but they're both roughly about the same size, but I like PNSO's a lot better. The Eofauna one is a little bit cheaper, but if I'm trying to add an accurate looking Giga to my collection, I would definitely spend a few extra bucks and go with the PNSO. Not knocking Eofauna, they put a lot of research into their figures, and this is still a fine figure, but just like the paintwork on this one and just the texture, and this one has very little texturing on it. Just the PNSO one, I think, is just superior. And next up, here it is with Safari limited version. I actually like this one too. I seem to, have a habit here. I like a lot of the Giga figures. The Safari one is great for like 25 bucks. It's less than half the price. It's still a really, really great figure if you're on a budget. And let's move the Sapphire one off, and let's bring out everyone's favorite Giga. Almost destroyed the Dinosaur toy form when this got announced. Here is the infamous PNSO Giga, which is just a really beautifully sculpted figure, hindered by that horrible tripod pose. But you know what? When I reviewed this thing back in the day, I actually quite liked this figure. It grew on me a lot. But PNSO is like an afterthought now. They really aren't doing much right now. And let's do a couple other Giganotosaurus. Here it is with PNSO's Giganotosaurus. It's a little bit smaller than Lucas, but they look really nice next to each other, especially with the vastly different paint schemes. And let's do another one of my favorite theropods of all time. Here it is with their Acrocanthosaurus that does not want to stand right now. Let's use a base. There we go. Love their acro too. It's just kind of cool that we have a few different Giganotosaurus from PNSO right now that can display next to each other, and they're all in scale. Let's do a couple herbivores from PNSO. Here is their beautiful Centaurosaurus that is infinitely overpriced. This figure costs $60, and look how small. Same price as the Giga, and look how small it is. That one still pisses me off to this day, and I love the figure too. It just makes me angry every time I think about how much I paid for it. And here it is with their beautiful looking Taurosaurus. And let's move on to the other two dinosaurs that are always compared next to Giganotosaurus. First up is PNSO Spinosaurus. I still have a feeling in my gut that we're going to get a larger, updated version from them eventually. And let's move on to T-Rex. And starting off with this Rex Parade, here is Beast of the Mesozoic, 135 scale T-Rex. And next up, here it is with Rebor's outstanding Kiss T-Rex. It's not really 135 scale. I think when I calculated, it was probably like around 128. So it's very big next to this Giga. And lastly, here it is with Wilson. And these two are roughly the same size. And I think that's a really nice size comparison. Let's just spread them out a little bit so you can see them better together. And why not? Let's go full Dominion with this. Let's bring out PNSO's Therizinosaurus. There we go. And see how all that looks together. And you know, gotta say, I'm talking about Jurassic World Dominion during a PNSO review. What the hell is wrong with me? Just gotta get it out there. Giga did nothing. Did not deserve to die like that in the movie. So final thoughts on Lucas 2.0. I really like this figure. I'm liking it more than I thought I would. Like I said, I kind of suffer from Giga burnout, but I can say confidently that this is probably one of the best Giganotosaurus figures, mass-produced figures on the market currently. It's just beautifully sculpted. It's a nice, chunky, powerful-looking figure. Only a couple minor complaints. I just don't like how the paint came out on the top of the head and the lack of paint on the hand claws. I expect a little bit more for a $60 figure, but other than that, I do highly recommend this figure. If you need an accurate-looking Giganotosaurus for your collection, look no further than this one. And like I said at the beginning of the review, I end up ordering mine from Amazon. Retails for $60. I think I said $60 a bunch of times during this review. Link is down below to Amazon and their AliExpress stores. You can take a pick where you want to order it from. So that will do it for the review. I'm actually getting another Beast of the Mesozoic figure in for an early review. David surprised me with that one because I actually forgot to order it. He asked me if I wanted to review it, and I did not say no. So I should be reviewing that one early next week. I'm actually leaving for DC tomorrow. I'm going to go visit the Natural History Museum. So if you follow me on Instagram, we post lots of pictures of the dinosaur display at the National Museum of Natural History. You know, shameless plug, my Instagram link is down below in the description. So that will do it for the review. As always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and it's greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys for the next one.